Well, before I begin my homily, a couple of announcements. As you know, since the lockdown, the stores haven't taken any cans and bottles. They've just reopened to do that. I went to Kroger's, and boy, what a lineup out there, way out into the parking lot, people with their cans and bottles. Well, our youth group wants to take that off your hands, that responsibility. They'll take your cans and bottles. They're having a big can and bottle drive. Since we're not having the festival, they're using the back garage, not my garage, the back garage, and they'll be collecting your cans and bottles on June the 24th and then Sunday the 28th from 5 to 6 on Wednesdays and 10 to 11 on Sundays. They'll start this coming Sunday and then and Wednesday and every Wednesday and Sunday for the month of July. So, if you want to drop them off, I know I got a bunch. I'm going to take them over there. Please do so to support our youth ministry. Also, a week from today is the early bird drawing on the main raffle. So we're going to try to live stream it. So if you're able to get your tickets in, you'll be eligible for the early bird. You know, as I've often said, you cannot win if your tickets aren't in. It's Father's Day. I'm entitled to a dad joke. And speaking of Father's Day, my favorite story of my father, and I know I said it in years past, but whenever I say it, people love that story, so I'm going to share it again with you. I was about, I think I was 14 or 15 at the time, and my father was a school teacher in the North Dearborn Heights School District. My dad came back from World War II. He was not going to go into the mills like his dad did and like his brothers did in Gary, Indiana. His youngest brother got into politics and got himself a job as a policeman. He's still alive at 96 collecting that pension. Boy, he got a lot out of that. He's still living in his own house, the last brother alive. My dad took the GI Bill and went to Eastern Michigan Normal College, which is what Eastern Michigan University used to be called. And it then and now specializes in preparing people to be teachers. So my dad went there and got his teaching degree and got a degree in the North Dearborn Heights School District. North Dearborn Heights School District later on became part of Crestwood, which later on became part of Wayne Westland. Anyway, but when he was working there, his best friend was the principal, Leo Sarkany. Our families used to vacation with them. We used to rent a cottage up in Oscoda. You know, I remember that. And I remember one day when my mother decided she wanted a hedge. Her cousin had built a house next to ours. And my mom wanted a big hedge between the two houses. So my dad was thinking how he's going to do this when his buddy, Mr. Sarkany, the principal, said, Joe, good news. The school board has decided to replant the shrubbery all around the school where you're working at. So if you want all the old bushes, they're yours. There's some good-sized bushes. So one Saturday morning, on a day like today, only more humid, my dad got my cousin's truck, and the two of us drove to the school, and all morning long, we worked hacking out roots, and there were mosquitoes, and it was a long, miserable morning digging up all those bushes and wrapping up in burlap the roots and putting them in the truck. And we got back home, and I realized the work was only half over because now we had to plant them. And in the afternoon sun on a 90-plus day with humidity, we were out there digging away. And of course, everywhere I dug, I ran into one of the roots of the maple tree that was on the property line. So we did a lot of hacking there. It was a long and miserable afternoon, as I recall. But plant those bushes we did. And when we were done, and we put the hose on them to water them, my dad goes into the garage where he had a little refrigerator. I guess that's still common to have a fridge in your refrigerator, and it was an old one. And my dad took out 2 Stroh's beers, and he gave me one. And he and I were sitting in the lawn chairs underneath the tree in our backyard. And my mother looks out and says, "What in the world is he doing drinking a beer?" And my dad said, "Irene, today he worked like a man. He gets a beer." My first beer, the first time I ever, well, those are memories you're always going to remember. As I recall, I didn't particularly like the taste of beer, but I thought it was so cool having a beer with my dad that I drank it all anyway. I think the next time I had a beer, I was in college. I just never got the taste to it. But that moment, I'll always remember, that spending that day with my dad and then having that beer. So, to my father and to all the fathers out there, a very happy Father's Day. And for all the fathers who are here, I'd ask you to please stand for a special blessing. Now, normally I'd say put your hand on your shoulders, but we can't do that. But you can stretch out your hands toward them if you would, please. God bless all the fathers in the world. We ask that, O Lord, you guide them to be good role models and loving to their children. And we also ask that you help them to be like a father like you are. Give them grace and patience to handle situations in a loving way. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. How about a round of applause for all our